Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to Margee. I am Dr. Ashish Jetpan and I will be discussing Anthropology optional paper of UPSC Mains 2021 that was conducted by UPSC on 16th January. We at Margee always believe that UPSC aspirants should align their preparation in what we call as a Margee trio. What is Margee trio? UPSC aspirants should keep three things in mind always. One is UPSC syllabus. Second, UPSC previous year question papers. And third is standard resources. Students should always strive to balance these three things in their preparation. So we will have discussion related to this year's anthropology paper and we'll see if your preparation is in sync with or in alignment with UPSC demand, so that it will be beneficial for those having anthropology as their optional. So what are the key takeaways from this anthropology paper? I will today discuss paper 1 and tomorrow we will have paper 2. One thing that I see is clearly visible from this paper of anthropology, both paper 1 and paper 2, is that UPSC previous year question paper have become more and more important. There are few examples in paper 1, like if we consider question 2a. Question 2a, what are the physical and cultural characteristics of Homo erectus? Discuss its phylogenetic status. The question is repeated again and again by UPSC. Question 2b, elucidate the concept of thick description of clipped gits with a suitable example. Asked for 15 marks. And if you look at the previous year question paper of 2019, the question was is about Clifford Geertz, his contribution, Clifford Geertz and Victor Turner's contribution was asked. So, in other words or in other language, UPSC has repeated that theme again. Also, the question 2c was describe the features of early farming cultures and Neolithic of a Near East. If any sincere aspirant have looked at the last year paper of 2020, one bouncer for many aspirant was Natufian culture. First question in 2020 mains was Natufian culture. If anyone have prepared holistically on that ground, Natufian culture was part of a Near East Neolithic. So the question in 2011, what I have read is, describe the features of early farming cultures and Neolithic of the Near East. So just one question was UPSC asked it again in a wider sense. आधी फक्त एक साईट विचारली होती आर्किओलॉजिकल साईट, त्यानंतर एक पूर्ण होल रिजनचा कल्चर त्यांनी विचारलेला आहे 2021 मध्ये. Then question 4b in the paper was language use in a social and cultural setting. To be precise, the question was mention the major branches of linguistic anthropology and discuss the language use in social and cultural setting. Again, if you look at the question of 2020 mains, it was explain how variation in language usage is related to social inequality. So the theme or the way of asking question is slightly different, but theme is getting repeated again and again. So anyone preparing for anthropology optional must keep one thing in mind, that student have to revisit the question again and again. So that was my first key takeaway for this importance of previous year question papers. Then we will move to second key takeaway. If you ask me, tell me one source that will be more beneficial considering the nature of question being asked, then no doubt it is IGNOU. Many coaching classes as well as many guidance material neglect this source. But as I told you, we at Margee always strive for better and quality resources. Importance of IGNOU is clearly visible in the paper. Consider question 1A in the paper. Question 1A, compulsory question was there, animism and deep ecology. So again, many people were clueless about deep ecology. Like previously, many people were clueless about Natufian culture. This year, many people were clueless about deep ecology. Both this term, Natufian culture as well as deep ecology, we can find mention in IGNOU. There is one section or booklet of IGNOU, Environmental Anthropology, that there you will clearly find the mention of deep ecology. What is deep ecology? Basically, it means that nature has some intrinsic value. Humans must not look at the nature as a means to their ends. So, deep ecology strives for humanizing, naturalizing human instead of humanizing nature. What we are doing is we are humanizing nature, but deep ecology strives for naturalizing human. So, if you are not aware of the concept, you cannot attempt this question. So, at least what people should do that after doing their basic resources should visit IGNOU material of that topic, should look for the concepts, should look for the topics. For example, in 2020 there was a question, describe secular trends in the growth. For 15 marks that question was asked. In IGNOU there is a title, direct title, that secular trends in growth, and very detailed description of that topic is given in the IGNOU. So such kind of titles, such kind of concepts should be noted down from the IGNOU. Another question in this year's paper, 1E, thermoluminescence dating was there. So all must be aware that there are two kinds of dating methods. One is absolute dating method and relative dating method. If you consider the coaching material, or if you consider the various standard or the resources that people generally use, like Akshat Jain or Vivek Basme, you will find some kinds of absolute dating and relative dating. But in IGNOU, there are some extra methods that are given. Means there are amino acid racemization is given, paleomagnetic dating is given, and also thermoluminescence dating is directly given in IGNOU. So another point, again, I'm emphasizing that IGNOU you must visit. In our batch starting from 24th January, we will have core or basic material IGNOU for our analysis or our discussion. Uh, After IGNOU, if anyone asks me what is the second source you will suggest for holistic preparation of anthropology, then I will suggest that Anthropology by Ember and Ember is that book. After IGNOU, if any book is to be referred by an aspirant, it is Anthropology by Ember and Ember. Why these resources? Not only because UPSC is picking questions or themes from these books, but because you aspirant will get anthropological language or anthropological terminology from these books. म्हणजे फक्त त्या विषयाबद्दलचं तुमचं ज्ञान महत्वाचं नाहीये, तर त्या विषयाबाबतचा, त्या विषयाच्या बाबतीतचं थिंकिंग तुम्हाला डेव्हलप झालेलं पाहिजे. अँथ्रोपॉलॉजिकली कसं बोलायचं, तर एक उदाहरण द्यायचं झालं तर एम्बर अँड एम्बर in where there is one line, means it is given that anthropologists are not aware why this phenomena happen, but cross-cultural examination reveals that it is ethnographic fact. So what UPSC examiner will look in your paper is there this kind of anthropological writing is there or not. So having these standard resources like Ember and IGNOU serve the purpose that if there is out of box question, if anybody doesn't know anything about the question, at least they can write something anthropological, something sensible related to anthropological subject from these sources. So our approach for the batch will be to guide student to how to go about these sources also. Then third learnings from this paper is you must have a mindset of interlinkages. The interlinkages of different syllabus points should be done at preparation level only. Means to quote, there is one question, 1B in your paper, marriage regulation and alliance theory. Marriage regulation is part of a topic marriage, and alliance theory, marriage regulation part of marriage 2.3, and alliance theory part of 2.4. So UPSC has clubbed this topic and asked the question. Same question, similar type of question was asked in 2020. They asked how marriage laws rules affect gene frequency. How marriage rules affect gene frequency. Marriage rules again part of syllabus 2.3, and they asked it to relate it to syllabus point 9, that is genetics. So this kind of interlinkages, as anthropology is holistic science, as anthropology is based on the biocultural aspect, we will see that one question again. So this approach of biocultural is needed in the anthropology. For that, interlinkages of different syllabus point is needed. Apart from interlinkages of different syllabus points, interlinkages of paper 1 and paper 2 is needed. For that, I will tell you one question from this year paper. Question is 7A. Question 7A. Critically evaluate different types of social stratification. Critically evaluate different types of social stratification with suitable examples. So, where we can situate this in our syllabus? It forms part of the paper syllabus 2.2, society. So, social stratification, though given there, we have to link it with the paper 2. Where we can link it with paper 2? With paper 2.3, that is caste system. Elaborate discussion of caste stratification for your preparation you must have done. So that knowledge you have to use here. Means they have asked critically to evaluate us critically the different social stratification. Means caste is considered as a closed type of stratification. Is it so? The analysis of M. N. Srinivas tells us that to see caste as a closed type of stratification is book view of culture. Means it is given in a book. What field view or what ground reality of India reflect is that we do not have that kind of close stratification. It is always caste mobility that have happened in India, and he gives that from from ancient India, caste mobility is a reality. So this view of M. N. Srinivas that caste is not a close type of stratification you can use here. Such kind of analysis or such kind of interlinkages can give you added advantage in UPSC paper. Then the question of deep ecology that we have discussed now, or animism, first question of this means we can directly link it with NMS complex of LP Vidyarthi. Nature means man spirit complex given by LP Vidyarthi in his study of the Maler NMS complex of hill tribe of Bihar. So how Maler view as nature as is one way looking at a nature as having intrinsic value. म्हणजे ते नेचर्स कडे असं नाही बघत आहेत की आपलं काहीतरी साध्य साधावं म्हणून, नेचर कडला स्वतःची काहीतरी व्हॅल्यू आहे असं म्हणून मालेर बघतायत. तर हे व्ह्यू तुम्ही तिथे पुटफोर्थ करू शकता. देन in this year paper, though we are going to discuss paper 2 tomorrow, one question was 8A. Question 8A in paper 2. Examine how examine how structural transformation in the economy, is affecting traditional social relationship in agrarian society. I will again repeat the question. Examine how structural transformation in economy is affecting traditional social relationship in agrarian society. So how the concept in paper 1 can be linked to this question? Simple. The approach of cultural materialism given by Marvin Harris in the rise of anthropological theory, written in 1968, can be used directly here. What Marvin Harris says is that if there is a change in the structure, if there is a change in infrastructure, that is economy, the subsequent changes in the superstructure and social structure also happens. So what this question asks us, how structural transformation in economy. So show examiner that you know the concept from paper 1, that cultural materialism shows us that if structural transformation in economy is happening, it will invariably lead to changes in the traditional social relationship in agrarian society, and it will change the social structure. This kind of linkages or analysis will give you more marks. Recent toppers of UPSC has also reiterated the same point in their analysis. So we have seen some points. Again, repeat what takeaways was. One, importance of previous year question paper. Second was importance of IGNOU and Ember. Third was interlinkages of different syllabus point. Third was interlinkages between previous paper 1 and paper 2. I will move to point number 5. As a demand of this subject, anthropology, you must give case studies, ethnographic examples, and cross-cultural studies to substantiate your views. See, what anthropology does is that it does fieldwork, it writes ethnography. So such ethnographic examples, cross-cultural examination should become part of your analysis. How can you these case studies be given in this paper? There was one question, marriage regulation and alliance theory, 1B. So we have to relate marriage regulation with alliance theory. One study conducted by anthropologist Goody in 1970 in Ranikhera village of India. राणीखेरा विलेज मध्ये एका गुडी नावाच्या अँथ्रोपॉलॉजिस्टने अभ्यास केला 1970 मध्ये, अँड व्हॉट ही फाउंड वॉज ड्यू टू विलेज एक्झोगामी, नॉट व्हॉट इज एक्झोगामी, इट इज मॅरेज रेग्युलेशन. So due to marriage exogamy, a village of Ranikhera, which was only of 150 households, was related to about 400 villages through marriage alliance. So that marriage regulation of exogamy, village exogamy, made it possible to have a very good alliance with about 400 villages. So this kind of case study you can quote. Another case study which you can find mentioned in Ember is Gusi tribe. Gusi tribe is from Kenya, and what they do is that it is very interesting that they do marriage alliance mostly with the conflicting or hostile groups. म्हणजे आपला जो काही शत्रू आहे त्याच्याशी ते लग्न करतात. काय होतं त्यामुळे की इंटर ट्रायबल रायव्हलरी कमी होण्याची मदत होते. So this is another example of marriage regulation, how it strengthens the alliance. Basically, alliance theory was given by Clyde Levi-Strauss, that one must be aware. Marriage regulation, another marriage regulation is parallel cousin marriage, cross cousin marriages. So this kind of marriage alliance strengthens what Clyde Levi-Strauss says is that it strengthens elementary form of kinship. Then another type of marriage regulation is levirate and sororate. So if one partner in the marriage is deceased, then his brother or his sister have to marry the other partner. So these rules are levirate and sororate. How it have affect the alliance theory is that जर लग्न झालं तर काय होणार, अलायन्स ब्रोक होणार, पण तो ब्रोक झालेला अलायन्स कंटिन्यू राहावा यासाठीचे मॅरेज रेग्युलेशन्स काय आहेत तर लेविरेट अँड सोरोरेट, लेविरेट and sororate. Another question to substantiate that ethnographic example, cross-cultural studies are needed. One can see the question number 4B. Question 4B, mention the major branches of linguistic anthropology and discuss language use in social and cultural settings. So to discuss language use in a social and cultural settings, one must give ample examples. There is one book written by this book, textbook of anthropological linguistics, textbook of anthropological linguistics, written by Kamal K. Mishra. beautifully written book and give ample number of case studies. What problem is that student most of the times are not aware of these kinds of books, or it is not possible due to the time paucity to visit this such kind of books. So we in our batch, what we will do is that we will provide you with the case studies from such kind of resources. So in question, how can we substantiate our views with ethnographic examples or studies from this book? Remember, there are ample studies means how social status affect language use. In Polynesia and Micronesia, there is special respect language. In Polynesia and Micronesia, there is one category called special respect language that is used to address the noble class. One case study you can put of Clifford Geertz analysis or study of Java. In Java, one word now is pronounced differently by different section of the society. Now, if I have to pronounce word now, so how artisan or peasant class will pronounce it is Ike. How peasant class will pronounce now, it will pronounce it Psyche. Artisan class will pronounce it as Saniki. And what is aristocratic class called it is Samaniki. So this study shows that language use differs across social stratum. Such types of studies are essential to substantiate your views. Otherwise, what your answer looks like? It looks like GS answer, and it will not fetch you enough marks. Then, role of ethnicity is also there in the language use. You must be aware that in America there is one type of language, that is Black English. The one used by black is known as Black English, and look at from inferiority from other classes. Then, in India's perspective, there is one study conducted by John Gumpreez. John Gumpreez have conducted study in India's Khalapur village. भारतातल्या एका खालापूर विलेज मध्ये जॉन गुम्प्रेज या थिंकरने अभ्यास केला. What he found was that untouchables have distinct kind of language from the mainstream or the higher and dominant castes. So lower the your social stratum, the language use differs. Another aspect of language use in social and cultural setting is gender. Gender dimension is there. In Kosati language, Kosati tribals, some words differ according to gender. Study by Cherry's Kramer can be quoted. Study by Cherry's Kramer is given in this textbook of Anthropological Linguistics by Kamal K. Mishra. What it says that, what Cherry's Kramer observed, that he was a psychologist. He observed that when women speak or when any girls speak, people used to interpret them in between. But when men or person from higher authority speak, there used to be less interruption from other side. So it looks like gender differences creating the barrier in social intercourse and language use. So my point is that you must have ample case studies to substantiate your different points, so that you can answer such questions very well and you will score more marks in such questions. While you are quoting some case studies, ethnographic examples, or cross-cultural studies, it is advisable to use some recent data, recent research, or recent cases. So I will again take one question. 1D, the biocultural approach is hallmark of biological anthropology. Question 1D, the biocultural approach is hallmark of biological anthropology. Explain. I will tell you one example of how recent anthropological study can be used in such kind of questions. One contemporary anthropologist, Theoban Mattison, is there. She is evolutionary anthropologist, Theoban Mattison. In 2021, she has conducted one study, and she has shown how kinship affect health of a woman, or of how gender norms in a society affect health of a woman. So basically, she conducted study in one Chinese community known as Masao, Mosuo, Masao Society, that is found in Yunnan province of China. This Masao community is of two types. Means one part of a community follows matrilineal, and other part of a Masao community follows patrilineal. The one following matrilineal, in that Professor Siobhan Mattison observed that in that particular society, women have better health indicators. In patrilineal society, they were having more cardiovascular diseases or other diseases. How this epidemiology is affected by culture is seen, because what happened in matrilineal society is that women have more autonomy. Means, to quote Indian example, a National Family Health Survey 4 have given one data that only 22% of Indian married women can take independent decision about their health. So what is shows that if the society is patriarchal, is patrilineal, then humans' autonomy is affected, which affect also their health. So by quoting this study, you can show that biocultural approach is hallmark of biological anthropology. बायोलॉजिकल अँथ्रोपॉलॉजीचा एक पार्ट काय आहे, मेडिकल अँथ्रोपॉलॉजी. मग आपल्याला काय असं वाटू शकतं की मेडिकल अँथ्रोपॉलॉजी म्हणजे काय, हेल्थ रिलेटेड फक्त बघायचं, पण तुमचे कल्चर पण कशी हेल्थ अफेक्ट करते हे कशातून दिसून येतं, तर अशा प्रकारच्या बायोकल्चरल अप्रोच मधून. देन another point after this, if you want to make your answer unique, have contemporary relevance or role of anthropology in that answer. मीन्स अँथ्रोपॉलॉजीने का आत्ताच्या 2022 मध्ये अँथ्रोपॉलॉजीने काय रोल प्ले केला पाहिजे, 2021 मध्ये पॅन्डेमिकच्या पिरियड मध्ये काय रोल प्ले केला पाहिजे, हे जोपर्यंत तुम्ही पटवून देत नाही तोपर्यंत तो पेपर असा एक डेड वाटू शकतो. कारण बहुतेक ते स्टँडर्ड बुक्स मध्ये किंवा मटेरियल्स मध्ये ज्या स्टडीज दिलेले ते 1970s 80s त्याच्या आधीच्या आहेत. मग कंटेम्पररी रिलेव्हन्स देऊन तुम्ही त्या आन्सरला थोडस काळातलं काल सुसंगत करू शकता. So how to make it relevant to contemporary times? Again, we will look at this same question. Biocultural anthropology is hallmark of biological anthropology. We have been witnessing COVID-19 pandemic. So in this pandemic, this biocultural anthropological approach, especially in biological anthropology, is must. To substantiate one concept is given by medical anthropologist Merrill Singer. Medical anthropologist Merrill Singer have given one concept known as syndemic, means synergetic interaction of two or more pandemics. Now you will ask, in COVID-19 there is one infectious disease that is happening, that is causing pandemic. What is their synergetic, or what are the factors leading to for two or more pandemics? See, research conducted by anthropologists showed that in USA, United States of America, most affected people were blacks. And also those at the lower stratum of the society affected the most. You can see this in Indian context also. In 1957, there was one infection, viral influenza virus, and people used to die because of it, not only because of that primary viral infection, but due to secondary bacterial infection that was associated with their social status, their standard of living. So, if government is looking only at current COVID-19 pandemic only from the medical perspective, it will not yield desired result. So, what anthropology can play role is to show the social aspect of disease. And one eminent anthropologist from India, Vinay Kumar Srivastav, also have written one research paper in 2020 titled COVID-19 uh, COVID-19 and social stigma. That was the title of the research article written by the eminent Indian anthropologist Vinay Kumar Srivastav in 2020. So, if you quote such recent studies in the exam, that will fetch you more marks. Concept of social stigma is also associated with Erwin Goffman's study of 1968. So, that also can be stated. Then, another question that can be shown 6a. The question 6a. What is acclimatization? Discuss adaptive responses to high altitude and cold climate. Discuss adaptive responses to high altitude and cold climate. 20 marks question is there. Very simple. Most of the students must have prepared this. But what many will miss is that contemporary relevance of this question or contemporary relevance of anthropology in this context. What question is asking is that discuss the adaptive responses to high altitude and cold climate. So in such question, you can say that in recent times, cultural maladjustment to various environmental conditions is on rise. So vast anthropological or treasure of ethnographic material can be used for appropriate cultural adjustment in this, especially in the context of global warming or climate change. So you can show that anthropology has role to play in this world. In words of Ruth Benedict, anthropology, what is the purpose of anthropology? Purpose of anthropology is to make world safe for human differences. In words of Malinowski, what is the purpose of anthropology? To make world peace. So for this to achieve, in today's tribalizing world, we have to show that anthropology matters. That will give emotional appeal to the examiner also and will fetch you more marks. Another point I want to stress upon is that while writing the work of foreign anthropologist in paper 1, you must take a note of Indian anthropologist works also. Means there was one question 5C, compulsory question 5वा, त्यातला C part is race a valid and biological meaningful concept. Is race a valid and biological meaningful concept? Many have noted here the work of Ashley Montagu done in 1942, or many have quoted Frank Livingstone done in 1962. But many would not have been aware of the fact that work of Indian anthropologist B.N. Datta. Upendranath Datta was a nationalist anthropologist, and he said that the word race is not appropriate, and what we should use, all he used was that biotype. So, in this question, is race a valid and biologically meaningful concept? You can uh, uh, state that Indian nationalist anthropologist B.N. Datta categorically refused to use word race and instead use word biotype. So that will fetch you more marks and make your answer very unique. So work of Indian anthropologists should be taken into consideration while writing answers. Uh, you must be aware of the theory of postmodernism. What postmodernism emphasis is that on deconstruction of various texts. Deconstruction means analysis what is written. One postmodernist says that there should be reasoning on reason itself. There must be reasoning on reason itself. So that philosophy we can use in our UPSC paper to fetch or to look at the question in diverse way. There was one question 4C, चौथा प्रश्न त्यातला C, 4C, chromosomal aberration can play havoc with the human body and mind. What is the question? Chromosomal aberration can play havoc with the human body and mind. Explain with suitable examples. So, after writing in affirmative of the question, you should ask or you should raise the question in the end: is really do really chromosomal aberration cause havoc in the life, especially in the mind, or this question pointing towards ethnocentric tendencies means person with Down syndrome, though having certain kind of disabilities, have some good qualities also. You must be aware of the one Marathi movie येलो. त्यामध्ये ती मुलगी डाऊन सिंड्रोम ग्रस्त दाखवलेली आहे. तरी सुद्धा एफर्ट्सनी आणि संधी मिळाल्यानंतर किती यश मिळवू शकली ती स्विमिंग सारख्या डिफिकल्ट स्पोर्ट्समध्ये, ते पण दाखवून दिलेलं आहे त्यांनी. दुसरं असं म्हणजे की डाऊन सिंड्रोमचे मुलं जी असतात ती पेंटिंगमध्ये किंवा फ्रेंडली पण चिल्ड्रन असतात, पेंटिंग चांगलं करतात, ते फ्रेंडली असतात. तर असं नाहीये की ते फक्त हॅवॉक क्रिएट करतात. तुम्ही जर संधी दिली, तुम्ही अपॉर्च्युनिटी प्रोव्हाइड केली, तर दे कॅन ऑल्सो लिव्ह देअर लाईफ इन प्रोडक्टिव्ह अँड डिग्निफाईड वे. दिस इयर डाऊन सिंड्रोम वर्ल्ड डाऊन सिंड्रोम डे इज सेलिब्रेटेड on 21st March each year. Why 21st March? Because of it is Down syndrome is caused due to the chromosomal aberration of chromosome number 21. So theme of this year Down syndrome is to connect to find new way for people with Down syndrome to connect with others equally. So while studying for this technical topics of biological anthropology, you must search some additional information related to it in current happening to make your answers unique. And you can quote this theme to show examiner that if we give enough opportunities, if we provide good diagnostic, if you provide good health facilities, such children can also have a dignified and more human life. And that is the purpose of the anthropology, to have cultural relativism, to treat each individual as unique, to look at each individual as having some dignified existence. Another important point from this paper is how to look at this paper. Is it easy, it is moderate, or it is difficult? See, due to the last year's paper, what is the perception among candidates is that this year paper is pretty straightforward and easy. Because last year UPSC asked certain kind of questions that nobody anticipated. I quoted earlier that Natufian culture was one such question. Then also in 10 marker especially there were many questions. Erwin Goffman's total institution was asked. Nobody studies such kind of topics in detail. So many considered that paper was difficult. After looking at the toppers mark, after looking at the result, we find various toppers from anthropology. Topper in anthropology scored 322 marks. The first ranker, Shubham Kumar, scored 320 marks. So there is no parameter to judge any paper as difficult, easy, or moderate. If students are considering this paper as easy, means evolution will go up, and chances are that the scaling will come and score will be less. Or otherwise, if student have wrote exceptional answer, keeping in the mind what the factors or points we have discussed, like contemporary relevance, contemporary case studies, contemporary examples, such students will have added advantage. Otherwise, what will happen is that everyone will be at the same level, and it will create hindrance to score exceptionally. So my suggestion or my point will be to have this point in to have this point in your mind. Have comprehensive coverage of your syllabus. Revisit and look at the previous year question again and again. Have answer writing practice. Look for contemporary relevance, contemporary case studies that will give you edge, and visit standard resources that we will discuss in or upcoming resource videos regarding resources also. So that's from my side. If anyone having doubt, can message here. So we will have, or we can close the session, and we will have paper 2 tomorrow. If anyone is already done with Ember and Ember and want to go further, there is one source, that is Heavy Land, that will also give you ample case studies, ample points, and various diverse examples. In words of Heavy Land, the definition of anthropology is, it is a discipline of infinite curiosity about human mind, infinite curiosity about human beings. This definition or this approach of discipline is also relevant for anthropology optional. You must have some kind of curiosity to know further than what is given in your text. So we will stop our session here. We will again meet for various anthropology related discussion. Thank you. Thank you very much.